Hey everyone, today I'm going to give you some tips on how to make a best possible resume, or what you might call a winning resume. There are many things to consider when writing a resume, but in this video I will be focusing on the structure of a resume and what are the main things you should be writing about. Why is the structure important in a resume? Well, if you saw a few of my previous videos, you see that for us recruiters, we only need about 6 to 10 seconds to make a decision whether you're a good fit for the position or not. That is not a lot of time. Why do we need only 6 to 10 seconds? Most of the time, we really don't have much more time than that, because we could be having 50, 60, or even sometimes more than 100 resumes to review. If we take 10 minutes to read everything that you wrote on the resume, we would be spending the whole day working on one position only. Most recruiters are working on average on 10 positions at any given time. Imagine if we spend 10 minutes on each resume for every single position. That's an insane amount of time, right? Tip number 1 is your name and contact information. The first thing you should be writing on top of your resume is your name, contact information, and if a job that you're applying to requires a specific location, include your current location. Not your full address, just the city you live in. No one cares about your exact address. If you're applying on a company website or a job board, include your professional email and your phone number. On the other hand, if you're posting your resume on your website or some social media, you might want to remove your number just so you wouldn't get spammed. If you have a website where you have your work examples, you should include it in this section as well. Tip number 2 is your summary. In a 2 up to 3 sentences, write an overview of your career. Don't go into too much details. For that, you have an experience section. I have seen resumes where the summary is half a page long. It usually tells me that you don't really know how to present yourself or how to write an overview of your career. Tip number 3 is experience. One of the things that you need to understand is that you need to tailor your resume for the position that you're applying for. What do I mean by that? Well, look at it this way. I just told you that you have between 6 to 10 seconds to grab my attention, so I would read your resume fully. You might have the experience that we're looking for, but if your last job title is irrelevant to the position that you applied for, I will most likely reject you because that's not the thing that I need to see on your resume. Write your most relevant jobs first, and then everything else, if you have everything else, you can write it in a section called Other Experience. If you already have an established career, just write your experience in a chronological order and it will achieve the same result. You might put a lot of time and energy into writing your resume, but if it's not relevant to the job that you're applying, you will most likely get rejected. Tip number 4 is job description/responsibilities. When it comes to writing what your job responsibilities or job description was, it can get a bit tricky. As I said before, everybody is expecting something different when they read a resume. For example, I'm looking at your job titles and your achievements over your duties. Same goes for hiring managers. They will be looking mostly for your achievements. But there are some positions where duties are more important. Let me give you some examples. First example is a position in sales. Here you should write about your achievements and back that up with numbers if you can. Both recruiters and hiring managers will be looking at your achievements over the past few years rather than your duties, because success for this position is measured in numbers, meaning how much you sold. Second example position is a developer. Here you should write a list of technologies that you worked with and your duties. Success in IT engineering position is not measured in numbers, but rather in your daily duties, how well you performed them, and how good you know the technologies that you worked with. Third example position is in human resources. Here you need to write how many team members did your HR team support, what were your responsibilities and your achievements. All these are important. Success for an HR position can vary depending on the company and a specific position within the HR team. Fourth example is a manager or a leader position. For this position, you should be writing how many people were you managing or leading before and what were the management practices that you used. These are just 4 examples from maybe thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. Make sure to adjust your resume for the position that you're applying for. Tip number 5 is skills. This section is the good way to show off your top skills. You don't want to write every single skill that you have, just the ones that you're best at. If you are a developer, here you can list all the technologies that you have worked in the past. If you are a talent acquisition specialist, you can list here skills like interviewing, sourcing, scheduling, and many others. Tip number 6 is languages. Depending on what part of the world you live in, it's good to have a list of languages that you speak on your resume. I, for example, know Serbian as my native language. I speak English and I can understand Ukrainian and Russian and partially speak both of them since I live in Ukraine. If you're looking to work in an international company, this section is very important and useful. Tip number 7 is education. The reason that I put education on the last place is because most companies, recruiters, and hiring managers don't really pay attention to it anymore. You can hear executives in the IT industry saying that education is overrated, but we can see that in the people that we're hiring. Most of them don't have an official education, but rather learn those skills on their own. These are my 7 tips on how to write a resume that stands out from all others. If you would like me to make a sample resume for you to use, please let me know in the comments of this video. That'd be an interesting project for me. Thank you for watching. Since you stayed until the end of the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you wouldn't miss any of my new videos. See you next time.